Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our...
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, and it's actually a new year. And there's a tradition when there's a new year, we always have resolutions, and we want to start our year correct and empowered. And today's show is going to get us closer to that. So today is going to be unique because we're going to try to build a new year based on an inner peace, based on finding yourself and having a good feel for yourself as an individual, and throughout the year. Hopefully this will resonate well enough and give us some real energy to sustain. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world. So with me today, I have a special guest. She's an author, worldwide speaker. She has her own concept that she's going to share with us today, all the way from Malaga, Spain. Mabel Katz. So Mabel, buenos dias. How are you? Good morning.
Muy bien.
Well, good afternoon for you guys.
Muy bien.
So I'm good. Thank you.
I'm very glad to be here with you. Thank you.
No, it is an honor and a pleasure. And, I was looking forward to this, and now we're here. And as I had started, the quick intro here, it's a new year, and we really want to define this year, in a better way. And I know that we've had a rough couple of years past, and hopefully this will be a better one. but nothing is better than having your own person fixed in a way. And I'm talking fixed here is not in a bad mode. It's more about we all want to have that better us, right? And so
Yes.
Today, your formula, I think, will really resonate well with our audiences here. So first things first, as always, Mabel, tell us a little bit about your history and you're really, you have a history, not a story, but a history of helping a lot of people around the world. So let's talk about that.
Yes, sure. Well, first of all, I should say that I was born in Argentina. I moved to the US in 1983. And I had everything that somebody thinks it needs to be happy, but I wasn't. And my oldest son talked to me angry, as I used to talk to him, and he woke me up. That day I said, Mabel, you're looking for happiness in the wrong places. Yes. So I started my search, and my life changed. That day my life started to change. Yes, because I made that decision. So then I realized that we all, I decided to call it God after a while. Yes, but God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is there for us. It's always there to support us. And that's what brought me peace. That's what brought me happiness, to discover all this. And it was, how could I say, a path of discovery. It wasn't, overnight. But that day my life changed because things started happening in my life. Things started showing up in my life. For example, the first thing was a magazine that was in my house already, that had a lot of courses, but at that time I was trying to learn how to send emails and how to handle Excels, and that, because, computers were just starting, But suddenly I found a course about anger in the same magazine that probably I wouldn't have seen, like many times. I saw the magazine, but I never went into the personal development, that kind of stuff. It wasn't in my radar. And that was the beginning of my journey, because the teacher for that anger course ended up being a metaphysical teacher. And he used to prepare, have groups, and we would meet at his house. So I actually left after that class, that anger class. I left my information, and he called me many months after, later. And I started taking these courses, and I loved them. It was like finding out about a whole new world that I didn't know that existed, because I'm still a very hard worker, but it was different before. You understand what I mean? It was that hard work, like, everything is on your shoulders and it's hard and things like this. Yes. So then I went to a yoga class, and the teacher made us do a visualization at the end of the class. And whatever I visualized, it was my first time. I manifested it the same day. So, I started wondering if we are so powerful that whatever you could imagine or think, you can manifest. So it was, one thing after the other, but there were some roller coasters, ups and downs and things like that. But really, when I found spirituality, I started being happy.
Wow. Well, so Mabel, you mentioned a lot of powerful stuff, and these are like concepts that everyone's looking for: happiness, peace, control anger. I think these are like heavy duty stuff, and everybody's seeking those. That's like the real formula of success in with yourself, right? And if you're happy, everything else is great. If you find peace, everything is great. And I think that's what people are seeking. I mean, yes, you said it, you were caught up in the life. And I think, again, all our listeners and viewers right now will probably relate to that. We're all caught up in that. We wake up and we got to do this and the hustle and get, all excited about things, sometimes overexcited for nothing. And things will happen regardless, because the way they are, it's designed that way. But we get caught up in the mix and get, excited and angry and, just stressed out. And it affects all our balances and mental and spiritual, all that stuff. And you started by discovering, you said it yourself, anger. And anger is a big piece. I mean, a lot of people are angry, and we all experience anger every now and then. I mean, I don't think you would be human if you didn't feel some moment in anger.
You would be like this all day, yes?
Exactly.
Not feel anger.
Yeah, we're like in the Zen, yeah, right, Usa moment. But the thing is that we all have it, and it's how we deal with it. And you're right. Your first course, I mean, that was an eye opener, and I'm sure it was intense. And you're like, "What the hell's going on here?" Like all the stuff that you discovered, like, wow. I mean, we've seen the movie Anger Management. I think it was a comedy movie, but it's the concept. We all get crazy and get angry, but at the end of the day, we all don't want to be angry. I don't think people are like, today I'm gonna be very angry. Yeah, exactly. I want to be very happy, but sometimes I can't find out how. I can't figure out how to be happy. Sure. And sometimes we tend to potentially seek help to be happy in different ways, material ways, for example. The more possessions I have, I'm happy. The more I go have fun, I'm happy. Maybe sometimes that's not true happiness. And so I'd like, for you to give us a little bit of that wisdom on how to achieve that level of happiness and the inner peace. I know that's your core, discussion. And also, like, I know you've read a lot of books, you've done a lot of, courses. That's the initial on the onset, for your, journey, the start of your journey. But then you got and evolved, which is like my theme, time to evolve, right? So you evolved to who you are today and saving, literally lives and helping lives to live better. And that's the bottom line. Our mission is we want people to live healthier, better, mentally, physically, spiritually, you name it, right? So let's talk about that. So you discovered the anger piece and you removed it. You were able to control it eventually. Let's talk about that first. Like, how can people even control themselves?
Okay, one of the things that we need to realize is that we are hurting ourselves. You could be angry at somebody, you want to change somebody, but the thing is, we hurt ourselves when we do that. I learned, for example, something that helped me a lot was to find out that if I didn't forgive somebody, I would be hurting myself, not the person that it wouldn't deserve my forgiveness. So I think it gets to the point that you decide to love yourself and treat yourself better. And you said, I'm not going to hurt myself anymore. Okay? Because otherwise, for example, if you don't forgive, you keep living in the past. You know, so things cannot change because you keep living in the past. Come back, you know, somehow. You sleep and live with that person that you hate so much, you know. So it gets to the point again. For me was first, say, I'm not going to hurt myself anymore. The other thing is don't feel bad because, like you said, anger could be a very good emotion. You know, it could move energy. You know, it could be even something that pushes you to do things too. So like you said, it's always the way, you know, you handle it and everything. So it's not about having the goal of not being angry anymore in your life. Yeah, we are normal. We are humans. We have emotions. We do the best we can. But I'm going to tell you something that I told my youngest son. One day he told me, I don't know why, once in a while I feel this anger and I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how to handle it, you know. So I said, would you allow me to tell you what my discovery was about anger? And he said, sure. So I told him that when I discovered I was not by myself and that there was a God, and then I want you to know, I'm not talking about any religious God, okay? And I would like to clarify what I mean by God, yeah? But when I realized I wasn't by myself and that there was a universe, God, you know, nature, whatever that is there to support me, that gave me a lot of peace of mind, you know, or inner peace or whatever. That peace that doesn't depend on you having certain things or people behaving in a certain things, or being at, you know what, being at peace in the middle of the problems. It's not like now I don't have any problem, then I can be at peace. No. The idea is how you can be at peace, because the problem is never the problem. It's how we react to the problem that is the problem. It's always our reaction. So it has to do with our perception, our memories, our thoughts, our beliefs, our judgments. So everything comes back to us. You realize that? So you have to realize you can be in control if you take responsibility. For me, one of the things we are going to talk about Ho'oponopono, yes, we are going to get there, this Hawaiian philosophy. But the first thing about Ho'oponopono, what I learned, 100% responsibility. There is nobody out there, you know, doing anything. So you are responsible of what you attract in your life. So it's not like you know how people talk about good luck and bad luck? You make your luck. Based on reacting or not, your perceptions, etc.
Mabel, I totally agree. And you know, I think you're hitting a lot of, again, serious elements that we really want people to get deep with. And so the concept you said, it starts with the self, right? Obviously, we want people to be better throughout the show, and the outcome, we want people to really feel good about themselves. But it starts with your willingness to find yourself, to look for that self that's going to be better. But you're right. Everything that affects us, we are part of it, and we determine why it's happening. Because to your point, problems happen. It's how we act around those problems. You know, you said it's something that people live with in the past. You know, they have situations and they just don't let go. Past is gone, you know, you learn from it and you move on, right? It has to shape you for the future, and really. The other part, as you said, people choose sometimes to live relationships that may not be healthy and things like that, and they just struggle. And the worst part is that, to your point, people don't forgive. They just hold that. And it's almost like an anchor, you know, just pulling them down at sea. And it's just like, you're just going deep dive, right? And it is not easy. A lot of people cannot. Unfortunately, it's just, I've seen it, you know, when you tell people I forgive everybody, they look at you like, what? Like, even if they did bad, even if they did bad, so what? What am I supposed to do with, me having all that grudge? It happened. I learned. I don't have to socialize with them anymore if these people hurt me or did whatever bad. But I don't care. I'm not going to take that with me. I'm not going to let that drive me nuts and get me like all hyper and excited. It's not going to do. You move on. High road, as they say, right? You just take the high road and just move on. And again, you'll be a better person by doing those things. But again, the ability to see that, the ability to adjust to that, the ability to really find that balance where you can really speak to yourself and say, like, you know what, is this worth it? And I found it that age does have to do with it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but wisdom comes with time. When we're younger, we tend to like have that again, anger and excitement, and the world, we owe the world everything, and we everybody owes us everything, and it's crazy, right? But then as you start maturing and getting a little bit, in the zone, as we were talking earlier, you start seeing like, is it even worth it? Was it worth it? What if we had right now to go back and kind of like in time, 10, 20, 30 years, every one of us listening and watching right now will probably have a lot of things to tweak. Now, some people say, well, I have nothing. My life was perfect. Well, then that's fine. If that's the case, that's great. But if you were to change something, what would that be? That's a good question that someone can answer themselves. But that's really like we all owe it, we owe to ourselves to listen to ourselves and ask that question sometimes like, if I did this, maybe my life outcome. Now, we can give those questions. We're not going to change them. It happened. The question is, how do we move on from this point on? And so that's at least, the perception that I have, when it comes to, that feeling of inner peace. And by the way, personally, I actually have this philosophy. I sleep peaceful at night. I don't care what people did to me. They did bad, good. If they did good, I thank them, from here to the, the hereafter. But if they did bad, I forgive them already. And also I just ask that they will find themselves better, because I know when someone does something wrong, they need to be fixed in a way. They have their own problems. And sometimes the reaction is however they behaved. And so, but that doesn't define how I behave. If you do bad to me, I'm not going to do bad to you just because. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm very passive or I'm like totally I'm not going to be responsive or be able to defend myself if I have to, but that's a whole different thing. But the ability to control it and the ability to just, I don't have to get into conflict. Conflict happens. Okay, whatever. It's not, I'm not sweating. You can do your thing. And I think that's just a very different way of approaching things. And it's a good formula to live with. It certainly helps me personally. And I know it's working for you. You've been teaching these concepts, but a lot of people are seeking that. How do you even get to that level? Now you can tell us more about how to really, get to this level. I mean, I cannot personally explain it because I just have my own concept, but you're right. One of the main elements that you mentioned is that as long as there is, in my world, I call the creator, right? There's someone that created us, and is in control. So I am not really, I'm in control in some things, but what's meant for me is meant for me and things like that. And so I have different philosophies that I apply, and therefore I'm at peace. Like I know that it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay, no matter what. And even in worst case scenario, sometimes things bad happen for a good reason. If they don't happen, you don't change. You see, sometimes that's the other thing, like looking in the good, even in the bad situation. And it's a good philosophy and it works.
I think, for example, some things that gave me peace also was to let go of being right or having the last word, when, like you said, maybe with age too, that help you. But I think sometimes it's personality, ways, the need to be heard, or letting go of looking for approval outside of yourself. When you start trusting yourself and loving yourself, it looks like eerie fairy concept, but it's so important because that makes you feel good in your skin and you don't depend on other people, what other people think of you or think. That one was also a big one. What I think of myself is important. Now you said something also that I woke up, I call it waking up. Yeah. I woke up close to my 40s. And you know what I always said? Too bad I didn't wake up earlier. My life would have been so different. I would have saved myself a lot of energy. I would have enjoyed more, maybe, or worry less. Yes. So, yeah, there were a lot of these small and big concepts at the same time, like, the forgiveness, the living in the present, like this is all you have, accepting that everything is perfect, like you said, that there is a creator, and that everything is perfect, even if it doesn't look like. Things like, because you said also something that I think it's very important, the conversations that we have with ourselves, the stories that we create, and we back them, So the idea is that you have to stop that. You have to change the conversations in here to be able to start attracting different things, creating different things in your life. Because if you keep mumbling here, with and thinking that you are right, or that you know what is right, that's when we suffer. That's when we are so unhappy, and definitely we are not at peace. So I think that gives you. Now, for me, was also start loving and accepting myself just the way I was, and not depending on other people's opinions. That was a big one too. That gave me a lot of peace too.
Mabel, that's very important, because first of all, just one element. When I talked about, the age, you can reach that wisdom any given time. When I meant age is that because your experience makes you wiser, but sometimes you have shortcuts. You can learn from other people's mistakes and just kind of don't have to experience it to learn it. You can learn it from the other guys, right? And you can just kind of almost make an expedited, trip, right? But so there are ways to do this, but you're right. And by the way, I would not change anything in my life, but maybe I would have approach things differently, maybe, just like different dressings, different whatever outlooks at things. But at the end of the day, we are here today, and today means for anyone that's listening, it's whatever your day is, whatever age, time, place, it doesn't matter. It's your today, and you got to today somehow. And you have different things that you've done, and it's always good to address some of the things that may have gone. That's the other thing. People don't ask the question, like, what did I do good? Like, sometimes we don't even judge ourselves. Like, we don't want to evaluate what we're doing. It's okay. I do that all the time. Like, did I do good? What was the thing? Could I do this things differently right now? Maybe I should have done this. Now I know I need to do this differently. And so those discussions, like, again, having that conversation is key. And that starts with you believing in yourself. Again, if you don't believe in yourself and you're always seeking people's approval, listen, not everybody's going to approve of you, period.
No, never. Never.
It doesn't matter. It's funny. We have this going joke right now, especially on social media. Sometimes people hate you even if they don't know you. And I mean, literally, and I don't mean it in the literal word of hate, but for example, I put this show up, right, on, let's say on YouTube, and you have already a thumbs down. I mean, they haven't even literally. No, I'm saying, if you don't like it, you don't have to. That's your opinion. I don't get that. Thank you, I appreciate it. But that's okay. The point is, like, people don't look at the whole picture. They just see. I don't like it the way he sounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like her face.
Exactly. I mean, so they judgmental for that. But do you want to dive into how I look or how I sound, or maybe the content I'm sending? That's just an example. But that's the thing. People will judge you regardless. And some people that they just choose to see always the bad, and some people choose to see the good. I personally would like to see
there are a lot of young people that are very connected, very spiritual, and they practice this since a very early age. Yeah. But all I said is, I wish I knew better.
Yeah, well, listen, we all, and there is no one that can actually tell you otherwise. Because listen, in life we make choices, and there's always. There are many choices, but you only have one option or the other. For the most part, you take one, and then you leave the others, even if there were like hundreds of them. But when you select and you take action, that's it. It's done. The action, you cannot, as we say, if you shoot a bullet, the bullet is gone. You can't come back. That's exactly what happens. Once you make that, you pull the trigger, it's over, and you move on. Now the question is, what's the damage? How can you, fix that damage? Hopefully, it's not a bad thing. And can you come back? Yes, the answer is always you can come back. I don't believe that, it's too late. It's never too late. And by the way, it's never too late until the last breath.
Yes.
So as long as you're alive, as long as you feel, as long as you can make a change in your life, you can. And there are a lot of ways to do this. Listening to a show like this can help. finding, a course can help. Doing hypnosis.
A book. Sometimes a book.
Yeah.
Or suddenly a video. Yes.
Exactly.
How many people said, oh my goodness, I was looking for something and this show up. And they tell you an amazing stories, for whatever they were going through. Yeah, and that doesn't have age either. Yes, it could happen to you anytime.
But and not only that, it's always going to happen. And believe it or not,
when you're ready.
When you're ready, and it will happen. And that's the other thing. If you look at something, if you seek in something in your mind, it happens. It manifests, as you said earlier. It never fails. If I like, we have this psychology thing, like when you think about a specific car, you start seeing the car. Well, it's the same concept here. If you think about something, deep enough, somehow you start seeing that stuff. It almost like, becomes reality for you. But that's the thing. If you want positivity, you're going to find positivity. If you want negativity, that's all you're going to do. And you're right. There are ways to mitigate that. So you can change your surroundings. You can change your entourage. You're seen. If this town is not good, I'll move to the next town. I'll find another place. If this job is not healthy, I'm going to go to another job, find something different. If my friends are really not really friends, it's okay. I'll forgive them. I move on. And maybe I should not have friends. I don't know. Whatever. Make the decisions. Or maybe be selective. If all your friends are great, great. So have more of them.
It's important to do what works for you. That's it. No matter what other people think or say or whatever, you follow, what feels right for you.
Mabel, I say this: we come alone to this world, we live alone. No one comes with you, and no one goes with you. So in a way, it's always about you. But again, some people may say, "Well, that's selfish." It's not selfish. It's what you do with yourself, with people. You can still be constructive.
You know what? That selfishness is very important to clear with that, because if we are not okay, nobody's okay. You know how we sacrifice for our kids, we sacrifice for our parents, if we are not doing it for love, if you're not doing it because you want to, you're not helping. You understand what I mean? Because you will be resentful. People can feel it. Yes, it's not like, oh yeah, she's doing it for me. No, it's like, oh my goodness, better not. Don't do it for me. So that is very important. You always have to put yourself first and know that if you are okay, everybody will be okay.
Mabel, that's an excellent point, because if for a parent, for example, right? If you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your kids.
Yeah, you cannot give what you don't have.
Exactly. Well, that's besides the point. Even energy-wise, if you're really miserable and you're stressed, you're not going to give anything, right? Even at work, if you're stressed and stuff, you're doing it, but you're not really doing it. You're doing it because you are forced to do it, and that means your input in it was going to be very minimal. But if you love what you do, you give with no limits, right? You just keep giving and be more successful. And that's why we always say, do something that you love.
And without expecting anything in return. That's very important.
I love that. And that's the other thing. You can tell, as a matter of fact, I just put a quote yesterday, and it's also about that. So do stuff just for the sake of it, for goodness, for kindness. You feel it. Yeah, don't do it and expect people. By the way, you could do good things all the time. And if you're always doing it and expecting someone to say thank you and you may be disappointed sometimes. so don't go there. It's more about do it from your heart and believe that you're doing it for goodness, for greatness. And it's not so much that you're different. There is plenty of people in this world. Just be one of the few that maybe, do good and try to be as a messenger of good, right? And that's really a simple thing. Everybody can do it, by the way. It's not difficult, but you have to find yourself. You have to find the ability to do it. And just as Nike would say, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. So Mabel, let's talk about the Hawaiian concept, the Hawaiian philosophy, because I can't even pronounce it. So you're gonna have to define it for us and tell us about it. And also, we want to talk about your book and your concept. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. So I don't think that I mentioned in the show that I used to be a tax accountant, tax specialist in US, before all my changes. And when I woke up, like I said, I did different things, they were kind of coming to me, and I went, yeah, I'm interested. Oh yeah, I want to know more. There are a lot of seminars, and books and things. And one of the things that I notice is that we are very addicted to drama, to blaming somebody. We have to find who to blame for our problem. And I had like a little voice that kept saying, there has to be an easier and faster way. There has to be an easier and faster way. And I actually found it in Ho'oponopono. It's a very ancient Hawaiian art of problem solving. For me, it's like a philosophy, a life philosophy, a way of seeing problems as opportunities, opportunities to grow, to be better, that there is a blessing behind every problem. That the universe is not conspiring against you, like we said before, I have bad luck. So I like this concept that I am 100% responsible, but I don't need to know kind of why. For example, I know that it's a memory playing in my subconscious mind, things that I've been accumulating. I'm not aware, consciously. But when you, like we said, you change the conversation, yes, and you come from 100% responsibility, you react less, yeah? So it's not like, for example, you have to stay with bad friends because you are responsible and you attracted them, yeah? No, you can choose to leave because that doesn't work for you. But the thing of not going blaming them, like they are the problem, is this is not working for me. Maybe I attracted this, but this is not what I want in my life. So sometimes it's the 100% responsibility of stopping blaming other people or trying, to justify yourself. So I learned that 100% responsibility. I learned that problems are really opportunities. And I also learned that most of our problems come from other lifetimes. I don't know how this sounds to you or your audience, but this is very important to realize that we are not just this. And this is part of the awakening that is happening now, of realizing who we really are. So the idea is that a lot of our problems actually could come from other lifetimes or even from our ancestors. So that also brings you some peace of mind that everything is correct, even if it doesn't look like it.
So, Mabel, first of all, you talked about taxes, and we get into tax season now.
Oh, yeah, but not me.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's fine, right? So that was just a little. Just as you said, that's like, oh, okay, we get into the new year now. We have to.
Oh, I have to get to call my accountant.
That's right. So it's a reminder for people around here. But again, the show is all over the world, so some people may not have the same time frames. But you're really. I love what you said about the accountability factor. We live by judging. And when I say we, I mean, I'm not generalizing, but a lot of us, and in general, we all make that mistake, and maybe not frequently, but we do. It's all about what other people are doing to us. But to your point, do we ever question, like, what is my role in this whole thing? And I think when you start asking that question, then you define yourself like, wait a minute, well, and that's the other thing. We always try to blame, as you said, the blame game, right? It's them, it's the others, it's always the others. But, do you ever think what you do to them to actually make them the way they are? Sometimes we don't realize that we have cause and effect, right? If your personality, your behavior will determine what the reactions are going to be around you. And you're right. If maybe they're just by default not the right ones, well, your decision is maybe I shouldn't be there. And I can move on. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we don't vibe.
Exactly.
We don't have good frequencies here. So I'm going to find a frequency that I'm going to be in the element with. And that's all there is. But at the same time, sometimes we tend to find the blame in everybody because it justifies our cause, right? It's everybody's fault but you. And actually, I don't believe that's true, because I think if it's one thing is one, I take it. If it's a couple, I take it. But if it's almost the same thing, and it's never you, then that's really you, because there's no way that everybody else is wrong and you're always right. And you're right earlier. It's anecdotal. I said it's the right twice. So, but the fact is, we are not always right. And we need to know that we will never always be right. It's just, again, it sounds weird, but that's how it is, because we will make mistakes. We're human.
sometimes, you know what it helps also? It's not like the thing is, maybe you don't know what is your part in it, but just considering that you attracted it. Yes. But you know, I felt free for the first time in my life when I realized that, because I said, wait a minute, if I am 100% responsible, that means I created it. I can change it. Two things. One is that you have to realize that you are giving your power away. You are letting others control you because you are depending on them to change or to make you happy or things like that. Nobody wants to have that codependency, yes? Because even if you have it, you know you are not happy, yes, with anything that you are codependent. So now you are depending on other people, to change, to do. So you are giving your power away. When you take responsibilities, okay, I can change it. The other thing is sometimes, wonder what you could be grateful for that they are in your life or they did that to you, because there is always something good, behind. So that also changes your energy. When you see it that way, it changes your energy immediately. What could I be grateful for? That I was fired, or that somebody left me or whatever. Yeah. And that will change you the way you, perceive, the problem completely.
Well, you just said additional elements here that I'd like to highlight, which is, the ability to recognize the contributions of others, regardless, and being grateful for them. And yes, they could be bad, in the outcome, like you can see them, like you mentioned fired or something, right? But sometimes, a lot of success stories started when people lost jobs and things went bad for them. And then that was the determining time or factor that changed their life for who they are today and the success they are. So you know what? Sometimes thank you. You did a great job for me. Literally finding that thank you in every situation. But that takes a level of understanding things happen for a reason.
Or experiences in your life. Like you said, sometimes, your priorities change, or what is really important in life could have changed. I have people that would say thank you to the cancer, because that changed their lives. That made them, change priorities, appreciate things more, or things like that. So yeah, no matter what kind of problem, there is always something good, that we could be grateful for about, that happening to us.
Well, the easiest way to look at it is this. If it's the worst case scenario, well, you say thank you because now I'm aware. At least you're aware that something is wrong, and now you learn something that is not good. So just learning that it was not a good experience is a good experience in its own, because you learned something. So again, it's how you position. Again, this is all about seeing positive versus negative, cup half full versus half empty. It's all a mindset. Where do you look? It's the same situation. I mean, we give this example of two people looking at the number 6 or 9. I mean, from both sides. It's the same number. It depends what angle you look at it. It's the same, right? But
they might be both wrong, right?
They're both right. I'm seeing it as 6, you're seeing it as 9, but we're seeing the same thing. But the fact is, these are just psychological stuff, but they work. I mean, these are the things that if you open your eyes to it, like to your point, awaken yourself. Like this is, I mean, it's funny because the Matrix just had, I don't know if you've seen the new one, Resurrections.
No, the new one I didn't see. No.
Yeah, so it just came out, and it's almost a revisit, or it's like a resurrection of the originals, right? So it's kind of it's a nice little twist they did there. But the fact is, it's that blue pill, red pill, right? You're awake, you see things differently. That's it. I mean, and no one can actually take that away from you. Once you open your eyes really to the real thing, you understand it differently. And people may not understand it.
It's a free choice. It's a free choice. That gift that we have of free choice. You are always choosing.
And that's the beauty of things. We all have it. The question, you see the thing, I think people sometimes are conditioned and they don't want change. See, they want things to happen, but they don't want change. You can't expect things to change without changing. It's like it's almost a contradiction, but it's not. I mean, you have to be willing to accept something to change, and then the change will happen. You have to get into it, and it's going to happen. People want as the definition of insanity is, right? Do the same thing and expect a different outcome. you know, it's you can't have that, right? If you want things to change your life for better, well, there's something that you're doing not right. That's how you feel, right? You know, I'm not making money. Okay. Well, what are you doing? Are you looking for, different opportunities? Are you seeking a new job? Are you, getting entrepreneurial? Are you investing? Are you doing double jobs? Whatever you need to do. No, I'm not. I do the same thing every day. Oh, and what do you expect? Things are going to happen overnight. If you keep doing that same job, the outcome is the same. But if you start thinking of different alternative ways, things will start moving your way. But it's going to take who? You. No one's going to do it for you.
And opening your mind, because always the opportunities are there, but we don't see them because we are so close-minded, the money has to come from a job. I have to find a job. And I tell people, maybe not. Maybe it is for an opportunity that is waiting for you, to open up your mind, because there is, again, the opportunity, to go and be independent or do what you love or, what you always dream of. But because we put it, behind, we say, no, that's stupid, or no, that's too difficult, or whatever. Oh, that's impossible. No. And this is the time. We are living very special times. So being open, opening your mind, being flexible, being okay with uncertainty, because all the opportunities are always there for you.
Mabel, I just say you got to think out of the box. I have a concept. There's no box. It's infinite. I mean, it's 4D.
Good.
There's no dimension, right?
No, I always talk about getting out of the box.
Exactly. Well, but the mere fact that you actually think of a box, you're already defining your limits. So there are no boxes. There is no limit. There's no border. Everything. I mean, it's infinite, right?
That's the way it is.
It is, but
because we created the box.
Well, but there's different influences that created that, and there's systems out there that actually are conditioning people to think a certain way. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's
the programming definitely, but also the decisions that we make. You understand what I mean with the programming or everything? And right now it shows you, yes, some people are, with the programming, and other people are seeing like how could they believe? Yes. So, but anyway.
Well, but you know why? Because again, there is a satisfaction when you do the same thing, and it's almost like you feel security and there's no risk.
Exactly.
It's comfortable, right? We're in the comfort zone.
The known.
Exactly. I'm gonna do step 1, 2, 3. I wake up in the morning. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna collect the check. I'm good. That's okay. But is that really what you want? See, that's the question to ask. When the minute you start like, oh, I want more. Why do they have this? They have a better car, better villa, better this. Well, what are you doing to be like them? I mean, if this, whatever you're doing right now is not doing it for you, that means there's something off. Then you have to look at other options and open your mind to it. You said it. Wake up. See what else. Now, because people are not willing to take risks, and that's the other thing, like there's fear of taking that leap. I mean, it's not easy. And anybody that's done anything different in their life will tell you it was never easy. It was struggles. And I mean, that we all have seen the meme about the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, and all the success top and everything that comes before success. But people see the outcome today of someone's success and they're like, oh, I want to be them. But do you know what they had to go through? what it was, what elements they had to actually put up with to actually get to that point? What sacrifices, sleepless nights, how much money they how many hours they put into work to get into that. A lot of the stuff, people don't see it. But at the same time, it's easier to criticize. It's easier to actually blame. It's easier to judge than actually others than you. See, that if we all change our mind to start doing that to ourselves, think about yourself in the mirror and start talking to that other guy that's you or gal and ask the question, like, start judging them, which is basically your reflection. That might change your way. I mean, it's amazing when you start talking to yourself a little bit and people like probably listening like, well, these guys are crazy. They talk to themselves. Actually, we all do. And so
we all talk to ourselves, but sometimes we are not conscious that we are doing it.
Well, we're having conversation. I mean, as a matter of fact, even if you're not saying words, you're having a discussion in your mind, like somebody's talking to you, like, and then sometimes you're like, oh, like there's nobody around. But you're having that discussion because you got an idea, somebody talked to you.
Yeah.
That's your inner self, whatever. But the fact is, if we have discussions, or at least we're questioning things. That's the other thing. People don't question things because sometimes questioning things is crazy. It's off, like, who you are. Who are you to?
Or no, I don't want to be different, yeah? Or I don't want to make a fool of myself.
Well, you know what I tell people? You are different, period and out. There's only you. There's only one you in this universe. There might be others that look like you, but there's only you. There's only one Mabel. There's only one Hisham. There may be other Hishams, but this Hisham is only me. This hurricane is only me. This Mabel. But that's how it is. You are unique. For whoever you are only you, and you can only serve you best, in a way. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot help everyone around you. You cannot be a good, positive influence on everybody around you. But the way you are, that's how you're going to treat the rest around you. Again, if you're going to irradiate, some nice, heat in and some stuff, you're going to, get everybody nicely comfortable around you. If you're going to give them some radioactive stuff, it's not going to be good. So it's all on you. And each and every one of us can do that same thing. So this conversation is just getting excited here now. So now you mentioned the Hawaiian philosophy, and you mentioned about the discovery of almost your inner peace. Are there any protocols to the philosophy? Are there any steps that someone has to undergo or take to make that leap, to change?
The most important, I would say, is to start seeing problems as opportunities. Yes. That 100% responsibility, becoming more than like an observer, yeah, so that you react less. That, again, you are not in the blame and complaining and things like this. Now, what we do, Ho'oponopono became very famous for 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. That's not exactly what I teach or I practice, but it works. Okay, because Ho'oponopono really is, I'm sorry, please forgive me for whatever is in me that created this. Like, like a small child, I don't know what it is, but I'm sorry, no? Again, you will never know what it is. Even if you go and analyze yourself and you find somebody to blame, maybe that's not it either. So we use thank you and we use I love you as shortcuts, as ways of letting go. What we are doing is actually letting go and allowing a part of us that created us, that knows us better than anybody else, that has all the solutions to our problems, but it gives us free choice. So in order for this part of you to help you, you have to ask for the help. And the thank you and the I love you in Ho'oponopono is a way of asking. It's a way of giving permission for memories to be erased, because everything is a memory that is replaying in your subconscious mind. Yes, it's like you are actually experiencing like you are in the movie theater, and everything that you are experiencing is a screen. And it's showing you, the memories that are inside of you that are projecting, on the screen. So the thank you and the I love you is a way of asking, is a way of giving permission for the transmutation, the erasing. We call it always I'm cleaning, I'm erasing. It's also allowing this part of you to inspire you. Yeah, so then you speak from inspiration, you act from inspiration. You are not paying so much attention to the mind. Yeah, that is always creating problems and very opinionated, yes, and things like that. So there is a scientist, Bruce Lipton, who I love. He wrote a book that is The Biology of Belief. And he says, you change your belief, you change your biology, okay? And he says that we walk with 2 antennas, because not even the thoughts are inside our heads, So, and we are always making choices of, we are gonna listen to this antenna, the talking one, or we are gonna connect with another part of us. So that's why when I told you, and I mentioned God before, I said, I would like to clear that I found God inside. This is the more intelligent mind of ours.
Well, even in religion, I mean, people may have different views about it, but we all kind of merge in the same concept. And yes, when you're really into the religious concept, whatever formal religion or informal type of concept, it's all about finding the higher being and the almost the energy that's around us, the force that's around us, the things that beyond matter. You're talking metaphysical, right? The stuff that we don't understand much, right? And that's exactly what it is. I mean, the concept of God, in most of religions, may have differences in terms of how it's perceived, but really it's the ultimate power, right? That people are seeking, and they seek it in different ways. And there's some structural religions and versus others. But again, it's the world of spirituality. And when you find that, you will be basically in a level where you'll be different. You'll be at a higher being because you are in a different connection. And that's the other thing, connecting with God, is a different peace of mind, because that's the other thing. People are lost in general until they find that connection. Now, whatever they call that connection, it's okay. People have different views on religion. I don't like to get into the division of religion because that's a whole different discussion and very touchy topic. But the end of the day is you find your connection with the universe, and there is a connection with the universe. I mean, this, like you said, something, we're not made of this only. There is actually the ghost in the machine. I always refer to it as the inner self, or the soul, or in the spirit, and there's other ways of describing it, but that's really, this is how I refer to this body as the avatar, and there's something that's running the avatar. And that something is not necessarily physical, it's different, right? And when you start thinking about that level of understanding, it's a whole different world. And some people may not even get it and grasp it because it's a little deeper to understand, especially when they limit themselves to the confines of material worlds, or even some definitions of religion. And by the way, I can discuss it from a religious aspect just as comfortably, and I can even define it that way. But just for the purpose of the show, it's really the idea that there is more to us. And that's why there's connection. That's why we have something like, there's telepathy. There's all kind of stuff that happen that we don't sometimes understand. There are things that happen. You think of something in manifest, that is actually happening. It's real. We all experience it. There's deja vu. Somebody like, what the hell is deja vu? There's things that happen that we don't sometimes know how to really describe them, but they're real. They happen. You want something and you think of something, somebody else is responsive. Or like, if I wanted it so bad, it happens. It does happen. There's manifestations. There's so many ways you can describe them. Some people refer to them in their own ways, but it's real and it happens. But finding those elements requires searching. If you're not searching, if you're not looking, you're not going to do anything. And that searching can drive you somewhere, whether it's a religious concept or an inner peace, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, the result should be the same, which is basically finding the balance, that peace. And a lot of people find it, and I've had different guests that talk different spiritual forms, and they all have it in their own way, but they all have one thing in common. They all have the same inner peace. They're all in a zone. They're like in the Zen moment. They're all in a good place. And it's from their angle and their view, and that's okay. To your point, we have freedom of choice, and that's a beautiful thing. People have choices, and we have the ability to think for ourselves and make decisions. And whatever the outcomes of the decisions are going to be ours. We don't have to blame the world for them because it's us. It's good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. It's really just us. We make those calls and we have to live by them. And we would love to have those calls be positive at all times. And would love those calls to be made where we are a better person. And I think that's really where the beauty of this whole thing is. So Mabel, one additional question is about your book and the frequency concept that you have. I want to really talk about that because I love that concept.
I forgot to ask you how long is the show.
We got time. Don't worry.
Because I had another meeting. That's why I thought it was going to be an hour. So that's why
we're around the hour, so we can wrap it up. No problem. Okay. But hey, listen.
I'm sorry that I didn't ask. I didn't ask that. So I want you to know that I wrote my first book, The Easiest Way, that then became the special edition with the easiest way of understanding Ho'oponopono. When I was an accountant still, but it was kind of my awakening and this urge of sharing with people everything that I found out. I wanted everybody to know how much my life changed and the things that I found out. And then I wrote The Easiest Way to Live, and then The Easiest Way to Grow. That is a children's book, because I wanted, it's actually more for adults than children. Children know this stuff, but it's to remind, kind of our inner child. It is all the things that I discover, concepts, some of them we spoke about, that changed my life, seeing, life in a different way. Then it came my reflections about Ho'oponopono, and Maluhia. It's another children's book, a happy city, where all the kids are the tourist guides. People come to see what they did, that they are so happy, So it's basically because they practice Ho'oponopono, so it's all stories, but based on the concepts of Ho'oponopono. And then finally, Zero Frequency. Zero Frequency is something that I created more intellectual. It's always based on Ho'oponopono, because that's the only thing I practice. It's my path. But I wanted something, because I come from the intellectual world, and I know how people think and they want to understand. So Zero Frequency trainings gave me the possibility of giving them experiences for the intellect, that you can realize, that you are 100% responsible, not guilty. Please do not confuse responsibility with guilt. Okay, and that became a book that it took me like 10 years to write that one, but it was published in 2020, and then after I realized that was the book for 2020. It wasn't for any other time.
Well, it was perfect, and you know what? I'll have the description, the link to your site and the book and everything on the description of the show. Now I know you do these talks around the world, and you help people, find their inner peace and all this stuff. I know we're gonna wrap it up, but so how can people reach out to you? Just go to the site.
Well, you can go. I do have a website that is zerofrequency.com, also mabelkatz.com. You can go. I have a world peace campaign. Peace within is world peace. That's another story. I love to work with children. That's kind of my passion. And what else? I'm in social media. You can find me or Google me, but it's Mabel Katz fan page in Facebook, and then Mabel Katz everywhere else.
And people can reach out to you for services as well, like to do programs with you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they will know what I have to offer if they go to the website. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, listen, I mean, it's been probably one of the quickest hours I've had in the shows. It was so quick, and it's flew. So I apologize, but I typically give an hour, but when the discussion is right, we go beyond.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I have to go because I didn't ask you, and I thought it was going to be an hour. Thank you.
I'm glad that I had you for the hour. That's all that matters.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. And, keep up the great work out there, and we'll stay in touch.
Blessings for everybody. Thank you.
Folks,
bye-bye.
Thank you. Folks, thank you for watching the iHealth channel. Listen on iHealth Radio. We'll be talking soon. Bye-bye.